Okay, so I knew I should have done this. I knew I should have done this. From here on, I'm going to take my own advice. These growing up crazies, it's going to be growing up crazy stories with a underlining point or message or learning or an experience. Since I put my toe in it, I might as well just step in with both feet. I have no idea why this is becoming such a problem, or it's even such an issue right now. But I guess it has to be addressed. So the reason, historically speaking, discrimination in the past has taken on a certain flavor. So, we'll say the right to vote. People always had a reason to try to exclude somebody from the structure, from the society, or from the power structure. Usually it has to do with power. But those reasons were always flimsy. Like you could punch holes in them with logic. It seems like we've come full circle in the discrimination argument to where what's being considered discrimination now has the flimsy reasoning and is easily punched holes in. So when it comes to feelings, personal feelings, one big thing right now is people say that age is just a feeling. Like, some days I feel younger, some days I feel older. But there is good reason why I'm not allowed to compete on an 8-year-old soccer team, because that would render the entire thing meaningless. Why even bother having a soccer team if anybody can join, or differentiating between age if it's just fluid and it's depending on how somebody feels that day. It's just a soccer league and 8-year-olds don't get to play because they'll just get run over. So there's very good reasons to, regardless of how I feel, why I'm not allowed to compete on an 8-year-old's soccer team. And those are biological and physiological reasons. And that exist in three-dimensional reality and just can't be ignored. And if they are ignored, then what's the point in the first place? Secondly, and that applies, that's just logic, it's common sense. Like when considered rationally from a non-emotional agenda, of course, of course, yeah. Get this guy off the 8-year-old soccer team. What's he do? Well, I feel like I'm 8 years old. Age is just a feeling. Okay, yeah, great. This is true. Go feel it somewhere else because you're defeating the entire purpose of having this little league, and that applies to a lot of things. Secondly, is identifying something based on the way it looks. We'll take buildings. So a church has a specific look. Granted, just because it's shaped that way doesn't mean that it's a church. But if, say, the church goes away and that building is repurposed for a lawyer's office, I expect the lawyer to clearly self-identify that this is now a lawyer's office. Because if I move to a new town and I see this church building, what looks like a church, and I assume it's a church because it looks like 99.999% of every other church I've ever seen, and I walk into it and there's a bunch of lawyers there, I will, of course, because of manners, I will say, oh, I'm sorry, I thought this was a church. And of course, because of manners, I would expect them to be like, no, we're no longer a church. We're now a lawyer's office. The sign's on the way, What I don't expect them to do is demand that I never identify a building by its form again and insinuate that I hate all lawyers. That's just so yes, this is my logic. This is my reasoning. I will actually, you know what? I'm not going to answer any question that doesn't have anything to do with that because that's my logic. That's my reasoning. If somebody would like to discuss that reasoning, then so be it. That's just what my mind sees. Ciao.